Let's have a look at this. So, June tournament. This is going to be the hero pools. Can't offer this one. Rip Lip, yeah. They were like, Lip, what were you good at again? Oh yeah, Tracer and Sombra. Yeah, okay, let's take those out. For the whole tournament, yeah. This will be for the entire June Joust, so that's like a 4-week cycle. Search for Super. Super might be riding the pine for a little bit. Pun intended. Rebel only play Ashe, yeah. So, looking at these hero pools, the question becomes, what is the meta going to be? I don't really know. Part of me says it's going to be like Ashe. So at first I was like, well, people are just going to play Winston Ana, right? They're just going to keep playing the Winston Ana double bubble style. But if you play Winston Ana, the DPS that you really want to play with that then becomes like Ashe Echo, right? I don't think you'll see Genji. Like, I just... maybe there's a chance for Genji, like you'll see it like as a niche strat, but I think you're more likely to see Ashe Echo. But then the question becomes, if we start playing Ashe Echo and then start playing like Ana Mercy and stuff like that, and you just start like pocketing the Ashe and the Echo, can Winston exist? Like, all of a sudden, the dive gets significantly worse, and then there's just so much damage that Winston might not be able to do anything. So... then if we go there as well, then we got Ashe Echo, then it's like, well, do we end up much money? Yeah, do we end up just in a double shield meta? Is that where we're gonna be? Khalida, thank you for the 100 bits. Sparkle Genji, mark my words. I don't know. Maybe. Like, I could see Dallas trying to force something like that, but I don't know if it's as good. Like, here's the thing. If, let's say they start playing Genji, like, let's say people start playing the Winston Genji, I'm pretty sure double shield just beats that. Like, I think Genji literally can't do anything. Yeah, like, I don't think you can dive. I just don't think you can effectively dive with Tracer and Sombra out of the meta. Like, I think you need at least one of them every time you play the thing. Echo, Genji. I just think Echo and Genji both need a lot of support. So it's like, maybe with Mercy Ana you can do it, but I feel like it's just going to be so flimsy. I feel like there's just going to be too many opportunities. If the opposition just plays double shield Ashe, I feel like it's going to be so hard to play the game. Ashe Doom? Doom's too inconsistent, especially against double shield. Like, you're just going to play like a BAP Mercy or something like that, Ana Mercy or something like that. Yeah, and then it opens up. I think dive is not going to work. I just think it's going to be countered by the double shield. This is my initial take, is I think with Tracer Sombra out of the meta, I think it's going to be too hard to set up an effective dive that's going to counter double shield. But then, all of a sudden, the counter to double shield is we end up in like a Lucio Moira rush. What happens if we end up in a Lucio Moira, Reaper May, fucking rush with like something weird, with like a Winston Sig rush or something like that, right? Like, can you get away with it without the Reinhardt? It's actually kind of an interesting hero pool because I think everything is affected in some way or another. It's like, even in double shield, Zen is really good in double shield. So, I don't know. I really don't know. Didn't we see that last year? We did see that last year, but you had a Reinhardt, is the difference. So, like, the only thing I could think is, like, you could play the rush with, like, an Arissa Sig. You could play a double shield. What if you played in a double shield rush with, like, Arissa Sig? Diva Sig? I don't think it'd be Diva Sig. I think you're more likely to see it be Arissa. An Arissa rush? And it seems counterintuitive, but it could work. Especially, remember, things that people seem to have forgotten. Moira and Arissa both got buffed pretty hard with their cooldowns. The Arissa pull is now on a 2-second shorter cooldown. The Moira orb is also on a 2-second lower cooldown. So, we're in a situation where it's like, well, has that just sort of pushed it over the edge? I think it's going to be double shield with Moira Bap. No, you'll never see Moira play with the double shield. Like, unless you're rushing with the double shield. Because Moira Bap do essential. Like, what does Moira do in a double shield? Thank you very much, money. Doesn't do anything. Atlanta is happy. I think Atlanta isn't happy at all. Maybe it enables Pelican to play like maybe it does if they end up in a double shield meta. Actually, then maybe that's what you're talking about. Maybe Atlanta is happy with this. I see what you mean now. Because I think if we end up in a double sniper meta, very good for Atlanta. But I think if we end up, yeah, I don't know. Gladiators used to speed in the Calang. But will we see more Ana? I think you will see Ana. I think if we end up in a double shield. But if we end up in double shield, double sniper. I think if we end up. I don't know. It depends on if we end up in a rush or a sniper meta. Maybe not. Maybe if we end up in a double shield meta, we'd play Mercy Bap. And in a rush, you'd play like Lucio Moira. So maybe you won't see much Ana. Maybe Ana might fall out because you don't have the Winston. The question becomes of can double bubble still be effective? Or like the Winston Ana style. Wobble wobble, motherfucker. JFB, thank you for the Prime Gaming sub. Yeah, Soldier is interesting. I actually think Soldier, if you're gonna play the double bubble, I actually think you could play a Soldier. And you could play like a Soldier Echo and play fast in that style. Like maybe. Winston, Xayah, Ashe, Echo, Ana. See, and everyone keeps saying this Winston, Xayah, Ashe, Echo, because people are just putting in the idea of we already saw some of that. I think if you try and play this Ashe, Echo, Ana, Mercy style, Winston is literally useless. Like, Winston isn't going to be able to play the game. And that is where I think people, like, as much as we saw it work because there was effective dives with Tracers and Sombras. We did see a little bit of Ashe Echo, but Winston will just die against that. If people realize that becomes the meta, Winston I just don't think will exist. Like, think about that. That's a damage boosted Ashe and an Echo that is just going to murder the Winston. And there is no one else who can follow up the dive with the Winston. Maybe see more Ball. The problem with Ball is that Ball synergizes very well with like the Zen Brig. I think if you play the Ball, you don't have anybody following the Ball. Like, usually when you play the Ball, you have to play a Tracer because the Tracer is one of the few people who can follow up. Even a Sombra can follow up with the Ball. If you don't have that, is Ball really effective? Brig Mercy with Ball, but yeah, that's my point, right? It's like, who's following the Ball? Who's helping the Ball get anything done? Like, without the Sombra and without the Discord Orb, maybe Ball can play the game for free. And a lot of the counters to Ball and like the damage to Ball isn't there. Yeah, like that. Remember, like, and then it goes back to the same idea of, right? It's the same thing with the Winston. I'm pretty sure you could just play double shield and make it so that they can never take space. The same thing would happen against the Wrecking Ball. As much as the Wrecking Ball would get a ton of value, and like it doesn't have a lot of counters, if they just play double shield with like an Ashe Widow, like Ashe Hanzo, Ashe Echo, all that kind of stuff, the ball's just gonna die. It doesn't matter, like if you can't get hacked or you can't get discorded. You're literally just gonna slam and die. These bands are weird because nothing really stands out to me. Like, you know how usually we see hero bands and something like really comes to the front? I don't really see it yet. Maybe I'm just missing it. Maybe I'm underrating some of the power of some of these comps, but I don't know what the answer is yet. Thank you very much, I'm curious to see what the teams come out with. Hopefully it's a little bit of diversity as well, right? I hope it's Genji meta, but BAP exists. I don't think it'll be Genji meta. I understand why some people think and like it, but... Rip Dallas? Yeah, yes and no. If anyone was gonna make a fucking Nanoblade meta happen, it's gonna be Dallas. Let's be real, though. Like, Fearless Winston... Doa Echo... Sparkle Genji... Ana Brig... People, well, and the thing that happens is Dallas are in trouble because they literally can't play the hit scan. They can't play double sniper. So like that becomes is this their only solution other than playing like a rush comp? Like I could see Dallas moving towards a rush comp, like not gambling on the Genji and playing like a rush comp with like a Lucio Moira, right? Doomfist, I don't really like Doomfist. I think Doomfist gets punished way too hard. Unless you're playing like a rush, I think Doomfist gets punished a little too hard for my liking. The thing is, without Tracer Sombra in it, it does enable Doomfist a lot, so... But what would you play in the rush comp? You could play like a... We were sort of talking about, like, you could play a rush with like an Arissa Sig, like play like a double shield rush, and just go fucking hard in the paint with like a Reaper May or something like that. Use the lower cooldowns of the Arissa pools, and then like you got Sig rocks and then like movable shields.
Pass into the ass.
Maybe ball Sig, play rush with a ball.
Bastion Symmetra dive.
Bastion Symmetra dive. Oh no, no, no. How long is this going to be for? This is going to be for the June Joust. So we just had the main melee. It's going to be for the entirety of the June Joust. So like 4 weeks. I hate Ball Sig so much. I just don't think Ball Sig works if you don't have Sombra Tracer. Like, I think Sombra enables the ball compositions that we've seen historically so much. Like, you could get away with playing, like, a Widow, but you still needed something to follow the ball. Yeah, like, the Zen is super impactful as well. Bo, get your head off the keyboard. Head off the keyboard. I'm unplugging the keyboard. Rip Super Striker and Violet. Yeah, this is actually interesting because the question becomes of what is this is... I think a lot of people are saying rip to a lot of teams. I actually think this is more rip San Francisco Shock. I think it takes away some of their best elements. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Reinhardt with the Brawl comps, I think was good for them, but they also can't rely on the Tracer or the Zenyatta from, like, Striker and it's going to make them play a hit scan. And who's their Echo player now? It has to be Nero, right? What's Nero's Echo like? I assume it's good, but like how good? Thank you very much for money. Is that Soylent? It is, yeah. Excuse you, we still have Super Genji. Talking about Genji comps. Nero Echo, very good, yeah. So it becomes down to how good it is, right? Like I haven't seen him play it in professional settings, so. Overall, the changes in meta way too much. I really don't like the changes, how Overwatch is normally played. Well, the professional style of playing the game is always very different. And, you know, here's the thing, is I think we can all agree it would have been great to see the June Joust not on hero bans, right? Not on hero pools. Because without hero pools, we would have seen the, like, more of what we'd seen. But the trend was already happening. You could already see the trend moving towards very heavily the Winston Ana compositions. I think throughout the entire June Joust, if we didn't have hero pools, we would have seen it stabilize it on that. Over time, it's always going to stabilize. And if they take hero bans, or hero pools, whatever the fuck we're calling it now, if we take that out of the June Joust, then all of a sudden we can't put them in a future tournament because you can't just pick and choose when you put in hero pools, right? So if they were going to get rid of them, they would have had to get rid of them for the whole year. And then it would have been... Would we have seen the same meta for the entire year? Because we would be relying on a very heavy balance patch that would have changed up the meta drastically. And we don't want to get to the playoffs and have a stale meta. It would have been really poor. You see Rhea retired? Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Rhea retiring is sad, but it makes sense. I think, you know, he's playing under Fury. I don't think he was ever expecting to play anymore for the Justice. And at that point, it's like, well, does he want to wait a year and then hope he gets traded, hope someone wants him? Or do you just, at that point, just retire? So I don't blame him for retiring. Or we have another playoffs patch that messes everything up balance-wise. And that's just on the Overwatch League and Overwatch sort of communicating and not having a ridiculous patch. Like, I don't mind having a patch go into the playoffs, but, like, we've seen some horrendous ones going into play. Like, in 2018 when we had it, where they literally just completely changed Hanzo, and he just became the best hero in the game. Was kind of dumb, right? Like, we just all of a sudden was like, oh yeah, Double Sniper is just, like, the best now. So as long as they don't do that, I think we'll be fine. Double bubble is so boring. Really? I think double bubble is very interesting. And I feel like that's always going to be for every meta, right? Someone's always not going to like a meta. Season 2 added Sigma, yeah, and Season 3 OP Hog, yeah, exactly, right? So there's always been something, right? What do you think about a pick and ban system? I think I used to be very heavily in favor of a pick and ban system for Overwatch. I've actually pulled back pretty heavily on it. I don't really like hero bans as much going into every match. I think the game would become very chaotic. And it would take a very long time for people to work out. Because it would literally change the game because you were never playing... Literally every match would be different heroes. And it would create this, like... The quality of gameplay would go down drastically. And I think that is what we learned from last year when they did the 2-week hero pools. The quality of gameplay was just fucking way worse. Because everyone was adapting and people weren't perfecting things. So it was literally just people winging it and just trying things. And some teams would just lose games because they just played the wrong heroes and stuff like that. And I think that would happen more. It would take a lot of the elements out of gameplay and just make it more of a macro meta style. So that is, in my opinion, what would be wrong with hero bans. Didn't they try a pick ban in Korean Contenders? No, they did a pick ban in like a meme tournament thing that they did. But it didn't really prove much. It wasn't long enough and it wasn't a good enough sample size. Could this be Philly's tournament? No Sombra or Tracer? So Carpe and Ras can go on comfort picks? Yeah, like I think there's definitely value there. It's hard to know. It's really hard to know until we see what meta really comes out of it, right? Do you think Overwatch 2 will impact our? Of course it'll impact our. Overwatch 2 will just have a massive influx of player bases. And hopefully, you know, I think they said it's on the 20th, right? Is when we're going to see some PvP updates. Because I think that's what's really important for Al, is like what's going to impact it. It's how is it going to change? How is Overwatch 2 going to change the competitive nature of Overwatch? Because we can all agree Overwatch is not a perfect competitive game. It has so many flaws and weaknesses, and we're still trying to work out how to fix it. And I don't think there's any good answer, right? Could we see Grand Finals meta on some maps with the Hog's recent bust? I don't really know what the impact of the Hog changes are. I don't know. Hog is generally not good in Overwatch League because of the way that the game is played. Just because of shields. Realistically, it's just because of shields. Or the game plays too fast for Hog, right? So those are the two things that why Hog very rarely exists is Hog's pretty poor in a shield meta because he can't do anything when shields exist. And he's also too slow. So he gets kind of like left behind in a dive or a rush meta. So... He just becomes an ult sponge and like can just get run over too easily. But we've seen, as you said, he's been buffed to places where he sort of defies that as well. Consistent one shot. Also, Super would disagree. You can say, like, as I said, we've seen Roadhog metas. But it's usually because Roadhog gets buffed into a ridiculous level. And whether or not this balance change is putting him to a ridiculous level, we don't know yet. We don't know. Was there any insight? I don't think they've talked about how... I don't know. I didn't read the article. Tiebreaker changes. So this is probably just because of like the quad thing. Oh, so they have a strength of schedule rating for tiebreakers. I feel like they're just covering their ass. I feel like we're never gonna have to like look into this. Hero pools previously announced. Hero pools blah 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 blah. The heroes to be removed were randomly selected from a group of eligible heroes based on play rate data from previous tournament cycle of Overwatch League matches. Only heroes that were played regularly, 10% or more pick rate, were eligible. No hero can be removed more than once. So it's literally just a random, anyone over 10% pick rate was in the lottery, and these are the 4 that got chosen. Yeah, and let's go over to the map pool, because I saw Backpack Matt Marcel link this as well. 10% pick rate seems really low. You would be surprised with how many heroes were disqualified because of the 10% pick rate. I would say half of the heroes, maybe 2/3 of the heroes were in the list. So we got Ilios, Busan, Legion. Oh, we got all the Koths again. Junkertown, Rialto, Dorado. So Dorado stayed. We got the same assault here maps because the other assault maps have been taken out, which I actually like. And then hybrid. Eichenwald stayed. Hollywood in, Numbani in. I like it. I like the changes, but there are some shit maps in here. Like, I think Junkertown, Rialto, and Numbani are all shit maps. Just because of, they have these really unique elements to them. Like, Numbani first point is just a clusterfuck. Rialto second point, when you have that defensive stairs option, is also just very strong. And Junkertown's just Junkertown. It's literally, Overwatch is played in a different way on this map. Just because of the design of the map. Where's Route 66? It is interesting that Route 66 didn't get added instead of Dorado. I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's because Route 66, Rialto, and Junkertown are all too similar of map types. Right, like, Junkertown and Rialto don't really have many high grounds. And either does Route 66, right? So you sort of... Very different heroes are usually played on Dorado compared to Junkertown and Rialto. If they had Junkertown, Rialto, Route 66, I feel like the map types, they're all essentially the same map. Then at least we get the Dorado remix. Oh, that's true. Fucking the Dorado remix. Maybe that's why they're doing it. It's a classic. Are the maps handpicked? I believe so. I think that the maps are hand chosen. It's not like RNG. I like having Eichenwald around. I agree. I think Eichenwald is a very good map. I think it has the second point is very unique, but also like the first and third points. I feel like it's a very diverse map. So no King's Row, Sag. You got Hollywood though. I really like Hollywood. And is this going to be the first time we see Hollywood in the Overwatch League since they added elevators? When did the elevators come in? After Grand Finals. So yeah, that'll be exciting to see. We haven't seen Hollywood on with elevators. Because that changes the dynamic of the whole second point, right? The second point was just dumb because of the defensive team just had the high ground and it was almost impossible for you guys to get onto the high ground because you had to wait for the elevator and the defensive team very rarely just let you like wait for the elevator to come down. You all get on the elevator, wait for it to go up. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes the style of the map. I hate Numbani so much. Point A and C are just bad. Yeah, I agree. I think Numbani has some pretty major flaws. I just hate how defensive favored Numbani first point is. It's very bad. You either have to take the low ground and go through a choke where they have all these high grounds around you, or you have to go through this tiny ass fucking doorway in the top left to try and get out of that doorway. So there's no real good answers. Numbani B is a pretty good map. I think it's pretty offensive favored, but then we get on to C point, and C point kind of struggles from the same issue where you have to go through that long, narrow tunnel, that long, wide tunnel. Sorry, makes it very easy for the defensive team to set the pace. Why are they still playing 2CP? 2CP until Overwatch 2. Okay, it's fine. We'll deal with it until Overwatch 2. At least we know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Numbani C kind of feels like Dorado C in a weird way. You mean Numbani A? Numbani A and Dorado C are in the exact same boat of you either have to take the low ground where they have the high ground advantage, or you have to go through a small choke where they're waiting for you, right? So at least Blizzard World got removed. I don't mind a bit of Blizzard World. I don't hate Blizzard World. I don't love it, but I don't mind it. Capture Flag sucks? Yeah, no, I'm not a Capture Flag fan. Joel Hub, thank you very much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the fam. Are these the maps now? This is going to be the maps for the June tournament. So, add Paris back in. Do it, you won't. They fucking better not. Paris is such a shit map. I don't know who designed that first point and thought, like, talking about bad designs, like, I don't know who decided to give the defensive team this, like, super defensible high ground, and the offensive team, the only way they can get through is this, like, narrow walkway in front of the defensive team. Like, I don't know what they thought was gonna happen. The map is beautiful, and you need to give it credit for that, but yeah. Are you gonna do a stream watching the Overwatch 2 gameplay preview? Yeah, probably. I'll probably do a co-stream of whatever happens there, so. Will they ever change that fucking choke? Well, the map's gonna get taken. It's already not played in Overwatch 1, and it's getting taken out for Overwatch 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if they reuse the assets in some way. Like the map in some way. Is that confirmed? Is what confirmed? Gonna miss Hanamura, yeah. It's worse, Horizon or Paris? Paris. They changing the 2CP maps, or are they just removing the... I think they said it'll still be a part of quick play and stuff like that. I think it's sort of what they've said, but they've said that in competitive, they will be taking out 2CP. What they're doing with the maps, I don't know. Like they could easily turn Paris into a like a push map, right? Just mirror it at some point, turn it into a push map. I don't know. I don't know if that works, right? Do you know if there is a way how people like me can access the VODs of the hour matches? Because if I can, I want to know how. All right, let me hit this up for you. So if you go to Overwatch, this is your BattleNet launcher, right? If you go to here and you go to Replay Viewer Current, install this. Once you launch this, I'll show you how I watch the VODs. These aren't updated as regularly. I don't know if I think they usually get updated on like Monday or Tuesday for you guys, right? Oh, console players like you? No. Sorry. There is no replay viewer for console as far as I'm aware. The best you can do is go to the YouTube. This is free though. I'm pretty sure the replay viewer is free. So if you have a PC, I'm pretty sure you can just install that. And then here's all the games. And this is how I usually watch them for all my VODs. Just get a PC, yeah. But yeah. Do you think Atlanta's going to pull the Bash and Simstrats on Barning and Volskaya? They might, but, you know, those things only last for so long. There's only so many times you can catch people out with that kind of stuff. You don't have the game? I think you just need to install the software. As far as I'm aware, I don't know. I've never not owned Overwatch and tried to open the replay viewer, so I'm not sure. Which teams do you think will be good during June? I think teams that have good hit scan. If I'm giving early bets, I think we're going to end up in either a rush or a double shield meta with hit scan. So I'm going to say I think we end up in a double shield meta. Especially with the maps. I think we end up in a double shield meta. Maybe some rush. Maybe a mix of rush and double shield. Rush without Ryan? Yeah, I think you see people play like fucking stupid fast. I think you play like an Arissa rush. I just don't see a world in which Winston can exist. There's like a niche where you play like the Genji Winston Ana style. And maybe it works because Tracer and Sombra don't exist in the game, but I feel like that just loses to double shield. And that's sort of where I think we're at. Winston Ball double tank dive? No. I think the problem is not the tanks. The problem is it's very hard to make a dive comp work without a Tracer or a Sombra, in my opinion. Tracer Sombra are both so good at like creating space, right? Don't ruin my dreams. Echo Cree. Double bubble. Yeah, but here's what I keep bringing up. And I think a lot of people, I think that's the obvious first choice. That's where I was going to look at. I was like, Winston's clear, Anna's clear. I think we end up in a double bubble. But I just, if we go Winston, like think about it. In a world in which Echo Cree is the play with the Winston Ana, how does a Winston play the game ever? He's literally going to jump in, get Brig Bashed, McCree flashed, Echo beamed, fucking fisted in the face. And then it doesn't matter how many primals, doesn't matter how many nanos you have, and nobody is there to follow you up, right? Even if your DPS are playing Echo McCree, then there's not a great amount of follow up that you're having following you into the deep. So it's like, maybe Ball, Ball Diva, but then Ball does nothing. Ball doesn't do enough damage. Like, he would be a distraction. That's literally all he would be. And then at that point, you may as well... Like, as I said, so at that point, you're using the Ball as a distraction who's going to be slamming, so then you can enable the Cree Echo, right? That's what you're saying? And with the nanos? At that point, why don't you just play Ashe Echo with a double shield, and then just slowly walk forward with the shields? Isn't that just more reliable and safer? So it's like... I feel like we're doing mental gymnastics of like, how do we make Winston Ana work when it's like, what if we just play double shield? And people need to remember, people keep forgetting, when we see these hero pools, people are forgetting the patch. Moira Orb is now on a 6-second cooldown instead of an 8-second cooldown. Arissa Holt is now on a 6-second cooldown instead of an 8-second cooldown. Is it 6? Or maybe it was 10 to 8. But it's on a 2-second less cooldown. Arissa got buffed. So I think it's not only the hero pools that lead us towards a double shield or a rush meta, it's also the patch that leads us there as well. So I think all of that together is going to create this perfect storm of whatever the fuck's about to happen. But I don't think it's going to be anything like we saw in this patch, which is in this Melee, which is exciting in its own right. Let's be real. It is exciting. There is potential for Genji. There's potential for double shield. There's potential for rush. And I don't think we'll really know. And I'm excited to see which teams decide on what, right? Hog and Ball Torture. I just don't see it. I don't see the Hog and Ball Torture. I think Hog and Ball Torture just loses to double shield. Torb? Nah. Torb just loses to double shield. Torb's useless in a double shield meta. If nobody's diving, it's not useful. I feel like Ashe is going to be hard locked. I think even regardless, like I think if the only way I don't think Ashe is played is if we end up in a hard rush meta. Otherwise, I don't see Ashe not being played. Which all of a sudden opens up that can of worms where what the fuck is Dallas gonna do then, right? Yeah, buy and get your visa real quick. What is gonna happen? I gotta work out how to make my chat visible in these situations. Isn't Widow just better than Ashe? Well, why not both? Ashe is more consistent. Obviously, Widow has bigger pop-off potential. Like, if we go into a hard double shield meta, we will see Widow. And there's a potential that we don't see Ashe, but at that point, it's the same thing, right? We're in a hard hit scan meta. It's shy time, baby. Dude, if Jimmy was gonna pop off, now's the time. Do you think these bans hurt Houston a decent amount, or is it just me? Nah. I don't think we've seen where Houston's weaknesses lie yet. I don't really know whether like, if we end up in an Ashe Echo meta, that's pretty good for Houston. If we end up in a Widow Hanzo meta, that's pretty good for Houston. Like, Happy Widow, KSF Hanzo, or Dante Hanzo. I don't know where the Houston Outlaws' weaknesses lie yet. But no Ryan or Tracer kind of sucks for Houston. Well, they have a lot of other players who can play a lot of other things, and that's it. Like, I'm under the assumption that I think they will be fine. Like, I don't think they need to play Reinhardt. Like, Jangu's not a Ryan one trick. And I think we learnt that from the Mei Melee, right? It's the same thing. It's like Dante is not a Tracer one trick. Dante can play a lot of things very well. Like, nerfing Tracer, not playing Tracer or Sombra hurts Dante, but he also plays a fucking disgusting Echo. And then they also have the bench, right? They have KSF on the bench, who's really good at Hanzo, at least historically was. They have Happy, who can fill almost every hit scan role. Like, I don't think Houston has a DPS problem. Jake time? Yeah, and then, like, even if we end up in some like, wacky world, like, of, like, Doomfist or a Genji, I assume that's where Hydration needs to step up, right? GB Mercy? Yeah, maybe. Bro, if Violet plays Ashe or Widow over Glister, I'm done. Dude, too real. Too real. Should move this chat. Chat's in a weird spot. Maybe I should find a backdrop for when I display capture. This kind of stuff. Like, have like a black box behind it, you know? It's a problem for another thing. Because I was thinking I might put this on YouTube. I think people would find this interesting. Put us on a throne. Can we look at the first matchups and predict how they will go now that we have hero bans? I don't think we even really know where the meta's going, let alone who's going to be better and what meta. So I don't really want to break down that yet. So you can shrink your screen down. Have chat on the right and have me. Yeah, I was thinking that as well, right? I don't know. I'll work it out. We're fucking winging this if you haven't realized it yet. Al has hero bands again? Yes, Al has hero bands. These are the ones coming in. These are the hero bands for the June Joust. Do you think Dallas will lose to LA Valiant with this hero pool set? Oh yeah, totally. Why ban Zen? It's a completely... Every hero that had over 10% gameplay time had potential to be banned. So, and I think they all had an even chance of being banned. So Zen was played enough, so we'll see. But yeah, that's, I think, everything we need to talk about with June Joust. Like, that's pretty much the TLDR of what's coming up. As I said, I don't think we're really in a meta. I don't really know what the solution is right now. We're kind of all over the place. And it's actually a very interesting set of hero bans because as soon as you start thinking maybe you could play this, you're usually missing a hero in that category of what you would want to play. So my guess is a double shield or rush. But hey, if Dallas want to run Genji, all the power to him. I'd love to see some Genji play. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Onto the June tournament.